Okay, welcome back to the Lawnmower Challenge of 2023. This is the most accurate data I have for Brad Pitt. He is currently at 12. I am still currently at 5 mows. I will admit, I was doubting myself a little bit at the beginning because it was raining so much. I started mowing a bit too early, I think. But currently, the grass is not that high. I have not gotten any more notices from the city that I need to mow my lawn. And until I do, we're gonna remain at 5 for the foreseeable future. As you can see, these blinds have finally bit the bullet. I don't really feel like trying to repair them if it's even possible. I'm kind of just inclined to just leave that window open from now on. I will figure that out later. For now though, we need to add 3 parks to the board because we have been filming a ton of videos. First up, Rocky Mountains, Great Sand Dunes, Black Canyon of the Gunnison. I'd actually never even heard of Black Canyon of the Gunnison before, but we kind of went there. We just basically got a taste of it. The other 2 places though, we filmed full-on videos there, so you will see those in the near future. So our trip to Japan is coming up really quickly. It's been in the works for so long that it's hard to believe that it's actually finally going to happen. Now I've started preliminary packing and I've used this Tortuga travel backpack the last 2 times and I like it overall. The main part that I like is that it has legitimate hip straps that really actually take the weight off of your shoulders. But the part I don't like is that you basically just have 2 big buckets with no organization on the inside. I mean, they've got these little mesh pockets, but these are kind of useless. So all of your stuff just kind of hangs out in the main compartment here. And this outside pocket is sort of the same deal. So if you put anything in here, it kind of just all bunches up at the bottom and then makes like this big bulge. And I believe I've talked about this problem before, but since I have a bunch of camera equipment, this bag is fantastic for transporting camera stuff, but I only want to have 1 bag ideally. So I need to find a way to have all of this camera stuff that's right here in that bag. In fact, if you have traveled with a similar amount of camera stuff, gimbal, tripod, 4 lenses, and a camera, and you were able to successfully use 1 bag, how did you do it? Now, last time I went, I only had a tripod, 2 lenses, and a camera. And that was because I was by myself. This time, since Andrew will be with me, we'll also want the gimbal and we'll need a few extra lenses for that. It's really funny, if you had asked me in the past what one of my interests would be, I would have never said bags. It's not surprising or anything that I'm into bags, I love the concept of just putting everything in its right place and having it streamlined. Oh, I love it so much. But even though it's not surprising, it's still kind of surprising. And even though I get into these modes where I just start looking at bags and I want to buy them, I've done a pretty good job of only getting the ones that I actually use. I use this Peak Design 35-liter duffel bag for just when I'm doing my everyday stuff because usually I'm in the car, so I don't care how heavy it is or how hard it is to carry. I just want maximum space. And these side pockets offer just the right amount of organization. You got little AirPods pockets, headphone pockets. And over here I have the Peak Design medium camera cube, which is basically my at-home camera bag. All of my stuff is always stored in here. And if I'm doing a video shoot where I can go in the car, everything just lives in here. I just grab this bag, good to go. And of course, when I'm traveling, I use a combination of these 2 bags. I've talked about this one before. This is the Kata DR467DL. They don't make this bag anymore, but this is the best bag ever. All of my camera stuff lives at the bottom. All of the accessories live here. Fresh batteries, dead batteries, filters, hard drives. And then in the main compartment, any clothes or whatever I need to bring if it's a short trip or just miscellaneous stuff, and laptop if I need it. And then I have the Tortuga travel backpack. They also don't make this one anymore. They have an updated version. But as I said before, the hip belts are fantastic. You got a little bit of organization with the hip pockets and the side pockets. Not a huge fan of these 2 big floppy pockets. So I may still look for another bag before this trip, but we'll see. But my bag lust, it's really actually quite good because it's given me a lot of understanding of other people's hobbies and interests. You can look at other people's hobbies and interests and dude, I don't understand how your brain could be wired that interests you. But I also don't understand why my brain is wired in such a way that bags interest me. So when you can look at your own self and say, man, I don't understand you, it helps you understand that you don't understand other people. And you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. I can't even understand myself. Why would I be able to understand somebody else? Now, speaking of hobbies and interests, Final Fantasy 16. Let me say right off the bat, I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a fantastic game. I'm having so much fun with it. It's so exciting. The story is very interesting. The music is great. But this is not Final Fantasy. I understand that Final Fantasy changes from game to game and that evolution is like kind of the core of the DNA of Final Fantasy. But they changed the genre of the game. This is Devil May Cry or God of War with more focus on story. That is totally fine. And as I said, it is a fantastic game and I really like it and it's so much fun. But the developers cannot be surprised if there are people who are upset at this game for changing the entire genre. It's not an RPG. I saw a headline that said that Final Fantasy 16 is a modern AAA game with the soul of a PS2 game. I would say that's very accurate. But when I think of a PS2 game, what often comes to mind is Devil May Cry. It's kind of interesting because you take a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake, that is also an action RPG. But all the little things turn it into something that feels like an RPG, whereas this game just feels like a character action game, which as I said, is not a bad thing. I love character action games. I love this game. It actually feels a lot like if you took all the sensibilities that I love about Japanese developed games and then had them make a Game of Thrones game, and that's what you get. But there's a part of me that just wants to yell at the clouds and be like, this is not the Final Fantasy I grew up with. And you're like, yeah, it's not, but it's okay. So yeah, I don't know really how I feel about it as a Final Fantasy game. I know how I feel about it as a game, and it's a great game, and I really like it. I'm having so much fun. But it'll probably take a little while before I actually know how I feel about it as part of the mainline Final Fantasy series. Anyway, a little while ago, I went to Galloping Ghost Arcade with my buddy Paul in Chicago. That arcade is incredible. So thank you to Paul for suggesting going there. It's a little bit expensive, but I'm willing to pay that price for a place like that to exist. Take an afternoon sometime, go there, fantastic. While we were in Colorado, we also celebrated Sierra's birthday. And I know that some of you out there like that dog more than you like us. So here is Sierra celebrating her birthday.
So Sierra turns 4 years old today, which means she gets 4 pieces of cheese. So we're gonna give them to her in creative ways.
She looks really excited.
Oh, she loves cheese. She loves it, and she knows the sound of it too. This is how you stuff the Kong with cheese. You gotta take the cellophane and you
that's smart.
stick it in there so your fingers don't get all cheesy.
God, American cheese is so gross. Do you like it?
I hated it for a while, and now it's grown back on me.
This is the grossest thing I've ever seen. Oh, just everything about it just is horrible to me.
Is your tryptophobia?
Thomas also smoked some meat. Tell me what you're about to do, Mr. Zuckerberg.
Wait, I gotta frame myself so awkwardly. We're smoking the meats. Smoking meats. Smoking meats. We got the Sweet Ray's barbecue sauce, BBQ sauce, Sweet Ray's. Gotta have the Sweet Ray's.
Okay, if you had no interest in bags, I apologize for today's vlog. I need to get started on an absolute boatload of editing. We're gonna be editing pretty much nonstop until we leave for Japan, I think. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you probably in a couple days. Have a good one. See you then.
right, Robbie. You know, we're kind of hitting a bellwether when we're on the last gummy pack. Will you enjoy it with me in
Yes,
these
sir.
trying times?